Hello, YouTubers. This is Robert Briz95 here with another just random deck tech. This is one of my casual decks. I see a need for. There's very few of us. I don't. There's not very many of us left. I enjoy casual more than anything else. So this is just kind of a fun casual deck. It's nothing really flashy. Um, but when it when it smacks people in the face, people seem to be a little bit surprised. It's a precursor deck, and I enjoy the. I mean, it's very slow, and for the most part, it can move pretty quick sometimes. But it's purely defensive for the most part. I'm sorry, but once it gets going, it's pretty much no holds barred, kick you in the face kind of deck, and I like that kind of stuff. You want to do the stuff that kind of comes out of nowhere. So it's had some iterations and some variations and whatever. But feel free to take this and use it if you want in your casual group. It's not competitive. I don't recommend it in any kind of competitive format. It holds its own against some standard decks, but it's just a purely kitchen table type thing. So let's get started. So for creatures, we got 4 Trinket Mages. They're good chump blockers, and they're good for searching up your Memnites. That's all they can really search up in here. Normally, in the place of the Goldoth Phoenix, I'd have some Jataxian Pros, but I've noticed in the last couple games I've played with people that I need some flyers. So, probably one of the most underrated flyers is the Goldoth Phoenix. You get Metalcraft super easy in this deck, so you can bring it back all the time. I mean, you get when a precursor comes out, you get 2 extra golems, and then if you got a Memnite in play, there's Metalcraft, and then you shape anew the Memnite, you've got 3 more golems, and it's easy to get Metalcraft in this deck. So it's a really good card, and with haste and flying and a 4/4, you can't beat that. A card that keeps coming back. Here's the main card of the deck, the Precursor Golem. It was a very underrated rare. It still is kind of a junk rare, I guess, but at the same time, it's one of those more creative cards that kind of harkens back to the old days of Magic. Which is what I like. So there's only 1 Memnite in the deck, which actually works out pretty well because you can get to it pretty quick. And usually by the time you can hold people off long enough to hard cast a golem anyway. And if you have a shape anew, you can shape anew one of the golems and get the other 3 golems out of the deck, and then you've got 9 golems on the board. So it's pretty easy. Let's move on to spells. Like I said, there aren't many creatures at all. Move on to spells. Assault Strobe, just a super awesome card. You cast it on one of the golems, and all of the golems get it, so you're swinging for 18. If you cast 2 Assault Strobes, then there you go. It's a pretty vicious little card. I actually, well, in the Skype games, I played against a couple people with it, and I think Lone Wolf Drew, I did that. I Assault Strobed a golem twice. So that was pretty much it. Whip Flare is since Pyroclasm's not I don't think Pyroclasm's not standard anymore, but this works just as well. Pyroclasm is a good board wiper, and with all these little tokens and whatnot, you don't need really more than 2 damage to the entire board. And since all the creatures in here except Memnite, who's usually gone by that time, are more Trinket Mage, but these guys are all more than 2. It doesn't do too much, but against all those little token decks, it's a pretty good board wipe. It's cheap too. It's same casting cost as Pyroclasm. So, and of course, since this is a casual deck, I had to put in the Rites of Replication. If you can kick this card, it gets to insane proportions with the Precursor Golems. You kick it, you're making 5 copies of each golem, and it's just ridiculous. And then if you Assault Strobe one of those golems, all 15 golems get double strike, and yada yada yada. So it's pretty insane. Of course, Vapor Snag, really good card. I'll use this in conjunction with Into the Royal. This is a good, one stopper, kind of pop someone back to their hand, take some damage. Whereas Into the Royal, you kick it, you get to draw a card. So Vapor Snag's a really good card. And of course, one of the other junk rares in the deck, Shape Anew. It's a very, very useful card, especially in Modern and Extended and whatnot, because there's so many ways to sneak things into play and do all sorts of other random things. It's a really cool card. Dissipate, one of the part of the counters, defensive suite, as it were. Um, it's just a really good counter spell. I mean, what can I say? Of course, Mana Leak, the essential, quintessential, I should say, uh, counter spell for Magic the Gathering right now. I mean, even when it came out, it was still good. That and just counter spell itself. So, and the land base is actually very small. You don't need too much land to power this deck, and you usually hit a land drop all the time. So, I've got 8 mountains, got 8 of the full arts here, and then 11 uh, islands. So there's 19 total land, and it works out very well. Between 18 and 24 land is really really good. Um, Excuse me. Most decks you need to run 24 if you really want to go, but this one is because of the shape anew and because of the mem knight if you get it, and you get a turn, you get a drop every turn. It's There's no way around it. So, and then for a sideboard, I've got, once again, because metalcraft is very prevalent. I've got four galvanic blasts in my sideboard, just because next to lightning bolt and burst lightning, this is probably one of the most versatile spot removal cards in red anyway. Pyretic Ritual, Dark Ritual in red, is just very useful early game, especially if you want to get that golem out super quick. So, and Into the Royal, just one of my favorite bounce cards. If you kick it, it does cost a little bit more, but you get to draw a card. So it's just a great bounce card. And of course, Jataxian Probe, more card draw. That's all it's in there for, is sheer card draw. And since there's so much blue, you never really have to play the Phyrexian mana. So, and then an extra Mem Knight if need be. So, all right. So that's my, I guess you'd call it, blue-red precursor deck. I don't know. That's what I see them online and whatnot. But it's just my variation of it, and it's purely casual. I mean, take it as you will. It's just a fun deck to play. People, the reactions I get from people are mostly like, "What the heck, man? That just came out of nowhere." Because once it pops off, it's just like, "Yay! I'm beating your face." So take as you will. Comment, give me comments and whatnot. It's just a pure casual build. It really is. If you want to try and tweak it to make it competitive, there are some, you're gonna have to do some massive changes to it. Unless you're gonna keep it modern, and then it doesn't really matter, because the one card that really keeps it, really makes it what it is the Rite of Replication. So, I guess until next time, YouTube, this has been Robert Brizz 95 here with just another casual deck tech for my blue-red Golem deck. So, rate, comment, and subscribe, and keep an eye out for episode 2 of Magic the History. We'll be going to the realm of Dominaria. Until next time, YouTube.